After Myles Garrett and Mason Rudolph went at it a couple weeks ago, I started thinking to myself, what are some of the biggest on-field fines ever?
And now a fight breaks out between Kobe Bryant and Chris Childs. Chris Childs punched him twice, and Kobe is hot.
So that's what today's video is about. We're gonna be taking a look at the top 5 biggest on-field sports fines. One thing really quick, A-Rod or Alex Rodriguez was suspended the full season back in 2014 for using PEDs, resulting in him losing out on $40 million. According to him, I just felt like I needed to mention that. Coming in at number 5, we have Rajon Rondo's $200,000 fine back in 2012. The Celtics point guard went right at Brooklyn Nets forward Chris Humphries after a foul on Kevin Garnett with 29 seconds left in the first half. The fight spilled into the crowd as Rondo, Humphries, and Gerald Wallace were all ejected. Here's the thing about the incident. Rondo had 37 straight games with at least 10 assists, tied with John Stockton for the second longest streak in NBA history. The streak ended that night as Rondo left the game with only 2 assists. After the game, Humphries posted a photo on Twitter of a cut on his shoulder, adding, "Does anyone know where I can get a quick tetanus shot in Boston?" Of course, Rondo is no stranger to getting hit with fines. The point guard has forfeited over $988,000 over his NBA career. Coming in hot at number 4, we have John Terry. Back in 2011 against Queen Park Rangers, Chelsea captain John Terry abused QPR defender Anton Ferdinand. It was the usual trash talk, but with a racial slant that the FA deemed totally unacceptable. Terry was fined about $330,000 and stripped as England's captain. Chelsea also fined him, but the details of that fine remain confidential, but it is reported to be the heaviest fine they had ever handed out to a player. The former England captain was investigated by Metropolitan Police, the English FA, and Chelsea. In July of 2012, the police cleared him of making racist insults. Let's move on to number 3, where we meet Rafi Torres. I had never heard of him before this video, but all I'll say is he's like the Ndamukong Suh of the NHL. He had been suspended or fined or warned 9 times before an illegal check to the head of Anaheim's Jacob Silverberg in a preseason game back in 2015. The NHL suspended Torres for 41 games and he lost out on $440,000, and still to this day, the longest suspension in NHL history. At number 3, we have the Argentinian forward Carlos Tevez. Again, back in 2011. Seems to be some type of trend back in 2011 during a Champions League game against Bayern Munich. The then Manchester City forward was asked to come on in the second half. Pissed off about not starting the game, Tevez refused to budge. Man City lost the match and Tevez was suspended for 2 weeks. The suspension costed the striker about $750,000. His fine is one of the biggest ever handed out to an athlete. And of course, at number 1, we have the malice at the Palace, and more specifically, Mr. Ron Artest and the Pacers versus Pistons. There may not be a greater disaster of a fan-player brawl in any sport ever. The ramifications and fallout from that night would be felt around the league for years. Nearly $11 million in salaries were lost from suspensions. NBA players and fans were slapped with criminal charges, and the landscape of the league changed forever. Artest lost nearly $5 million in salary due to his season-long suspension, while Steven Jackson and Jermaine O'Neal both lost millions as well. I'm sure we've all seen the video thousands of times, but my favorite part is the story Jackson tells about when they were sitting in the locker room post-fight. And I quote, "So we're in the locker room, legs all scratched up from hopping over the bleachers, our adrenaline's pumping, we laid a couple people out. You know what I mean? We all sit back and Ron Artest, aka Meta World Peace, leans back and asks us, 'Do you think we're gonna get in trouble?' I said, 'Ron, in trouble? We're lucky if we still have our job.' That was the funniest thing ever. Trouble? We're lucky if we have a job, Ron." Also, apparently Ron Artest and John Green, aka the guy who threw the cup, are actually now really close friends, which is just absolutely wild. Anyways, that is going to be a wrap on today's video. Obviously, there's some bigger off the field fines I didn't include, but let me know if I missed anything in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope you guys did enjoy. It has been your boy MboneHD, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.
Whoa! And B going at it with Carl Anthony Towns.